left, left, right, left, 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 right, left, left. A museum is a museum because of the prominence. That means to tell the story of the exhibit. Other than that, it's just an item on display. Paul J. Matthews, I'm the founder and curator of the Buffalo Soldier National Museum. And we was collecting artifacts and documents, memorabilia for over 30-some years, and I retired from Merck, where I was the director of military sales. So we had all of these items, and the wife told me that, hey, it's time to get some of this stuff, out of the house.
From that small conversation, it led to development of a museum, a gallery that he can house the things that he had collected over the years. And that was in January of 2001. I'm Desmond Bertrand Pitts, CEO of the Buffalo Soldier National Museum. I became involved with the museum from very early stages, very early on. Actually, when the museum was founded in 2001, I was voluntold by my grandfather, who happens to be the founder, Paul J. Matthews, of this museum. And very early on, I realized that my grandfather had a strong passion for the Buffalo Soldiers and just African Americans in the military in general.
We opened January 5th, 2001, and we focus on and feature the Buffalo Soldiers, but in actuality, we give a perspective on the African American military experience from 1770 to 2000, from the Revolutionary War to the Persian Gulf War. We talk about personalities from Christopher Sattis, Colin Powell. And our mission is to preserve, promote, and perpetuate the honor and legacy of the brave men and women who fought, led, and died in defense of America. And we want the world to know that.
It is very important that our museum exists to tell the story of not only the Buffalo Soldier, but African American men and women who served this country from the very beginning. We have always taken veterans to the forefront of what we do here.
Well, the troop is just kind of like voluntary service, just committed to the whole bonding of the unit, Buffalo Soldiers. We do events. We go to several parades. What goes along with it, there's a whole lot of just kind of appreciation for having something to contribute your time to something positive. And we're thankful for that. I am anyway.
We exist to tell the stories to the youth, to young and old, to millennials, to Gen Xers. Everyone needs to know the history and the contributions that our ancestors and our parents and our grandparents and even some of our children are now fighting for, the rights that they're fighting for.
You're
Oliver Martin Jr. I'm an athlete, former athlete, and got a lot of support from Dad. I was in an all-white sport, pretty much, and so I went through my own teething pains during that period. And my father told me either beat the hell out of him or get out. And so I started beating the hell out of him.
Sport has obviously been a huge part of my life, given his background. My mom is also in cycling. She was a two-time national champion in 84 and 85, I think. And you coached her through one of those.
Both.
Yes, both of those, excuse me. I tried professional running for a little while, and unfortunately I've had a lot of injuries, every injury under the sun, and I've been in physical therapy probably more than I have been healthy at this point in my life.
She got that from her mother, not from my
Strong
side.
genes on this side.
Dad was born in Camden, South Carolina, one of 5 children. The family, about 1920s, moved to Philadelphia and then to New York. Came around time for WW2, and the only way blacks could get into the military was enlisting at that time. I think after 43, there was a draft that included blacks. Dad wound up at Fort Huachuca. As a medic, did not see action per se, but he saw the aftermath of a lot of the action. And he wound up being very proficient, very organized, and he became first sergeant, which is probably the highest rank for active military, non-commissioned military personnel. Like a lot of people his age going through the war, sometimes they don't tell you everything. It was a tough experience, war per se, and then being black.
But having a place to call home for as a country go, you was kind of glad to go, even though home wasn't home to the point of gaining you any kind of advantage as far as making a living. But when it got to the battlefield, that kind of disappeared because color was gray then. You need somebody help. You don't care if they black or white. But when it got back to time to leave and go back home, you couldn't mix with them. It was just back to business as usual with the whole prejudice and racial thing. And some did kind of like try to abolish some of that.
In America, racism in general has always been around. It's becoming more present and more visual now because of social media and things of that sort. Here in Houston, here at the Buffalo Soldier National Museum, and just for me personally, it's important that we attack this issue head on. We're planning some conversations and webinars around racial inequities and inequities in funding, things all across the board that really kind of speak to our experiences. We're on a different battleground, but we're fighting the same fight. And we here at the Buffalo Soldier Museum will continue the fight, and we will be a part of this movement.
And we have a letter from a troop of Washington, 1951. He's in Korea, fighting in the Korean conflict. And here you have a black man that writes a letter to his mom who lives in Brownwood, Texas. He opens up by saying, things are quiet here, hope things are quiet at home. And then he said, we heard today that our unit is going to be integrated. And you know how powerful that is for a historian? Here you have a black man fighting for the liberation of Koreans in a segregated army.
The uniqueness of being a member of the 92nd was internally a powerful mechanism for Dad after he got out of it.
And the Buffalo Soldiers actually is a good example of patriotism. A good example of who we strive to be. And it's a story that needs to be told. I guess the historian said it best, if a race has no history, if it has no worthwhile traditions, becomes a negligible factor in the thoughts of the world and stand in danger of being exterminated.
I see us being more involved in the community, having more discussions, really being the Center for African American Military History, or the Center for African American History in general. We are the epicenter of that. And I want us to begin doing courses, and we have quite a bit planned in the next 3 years, the next 3 to 5 years.
Martin Luther King said, unless we learn to live together as brothers, we will all perish as fools. And that's the thing that a lot of people, it goes over the noggin.
Happy National Buffalo Soldier Day, ready and forward.